Today, one of the special educators have joined us on board, who is a teacher by passion, a voracious reader, an exemplary orator who believes in the virtues of achieving goals, lies in the right mindset, and excuses just does not stand in her line of approach. She has been actively working in schools for the past 20 years and has been serving as the vice principal at the Arunodaya Public School from the past 8 years. Please welcome Miss Rupika Tandon.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me here.
Entab is enthralled to have you on board, ma'am, and we are excited to have your share of pearls of wisdom.
Equally excited.
CampusCare EdTalks is an exclusive platform where top educators from India or abroad come on board and express their viewpoints on burning topics related to education. Entab CampusCare EdTalks is an initiative where educators get an opportunity to come forward and share their thoughts about education and other aspects of life. The show aims to uplift the level of education by sharing the best practices followed around the globe. It brings to light some personal experiences and thought provoking ideas of the educators. So, ma'am, what is experiential learning and how does it differ from the traditional classroom learning training model?
Okay, so I can share with you the definitions, but let me explain it with the help of a story, since storytelling happens to be
Yeah,
a
of
21st
course.
century skill. And the entire concept of experiential learning will be very much clear through. And the story is a known story. It is the same, the rabbit and the tortoise. Now, there will be versions. The one that we know is 1.0, then we'll have 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0. So, four versions. So, the initial story, we all know that there was a race and the rabbit fell asleep, and then it was the slow and steady who won the race. Comes 2.0. The rabbit feels bad about his losing, and he says that, okay, this time let's have another race, and this time he did not sleep. So, he won. This is 2.0. So he learned from his mistakes. There was an experience and he learned. The version 3.0, the tortoise again comes to him and he says, okay, let's have another race. But this time, I'll decide the course of the race. That is decided. And when they start running, in between comes a river. So again, the tortoise, he is able to clear that stream, whereas the rabbit he's again failing, or he again loses the race. So here, that means we need to work on our strength. Here, the tortoise decided the race depending on his strengths, and he overcame his weaknesses. And the last version, which is the ideal way, that they both start together. For the land part, it is the tortoise is carried by the hare, and when that stream comes, at that time the tortoise carries the hare on his back.
So nice.
So the experiential learning, when we talk about, we are learning by doing. To cut it short in the small phrase, this is what is experiential learning. How it is different? The experiential learning is actually child-centric. Here, mistakes are not looked upon.
Yes.
Mistakes are, again, you are learning from them. No doubt it is a time-consuming process, but experiential learning goes a long way.
So nicely said, ma'am. Now, what do you think are the benefits or the outcomes of experiential learning for students?
So when we talk of the benefits, we are actually referring to a 21st century skill, a student. We are already 23 years late. My 21st century student was born 23 years ago. And we cannot even think of teaching them the old way. We'll have to update ourselves for that. So the benefits here, this child who is a Gen Z that they say, this child has a lot on his plate. He has to manage the studies, the academics. He has to build a very nice portfolio because that will help him gain admission. He will have to be active on so many platforms because that is the demand of his peers. There is a lot of peer pressure. So because of that, the concentration span has reduced remarkably. Now, when that will happen, if you expect that the teacher is speaking, is lecturing, and the child will be listening and jotting down and making notes, no, for that, nowadays, GPT, nobody bothers. For studying, he has so many YouTube channels, although I will not recommend that. But still, I mean, the learning is everywhere and on a click of the button. So when the child is doing it by experiential learning, he is actually sharing his experience. He is analyzing. So here comes the critical thinking. Then he is inferring. He is drawing his conclusion. So his brain is doing a lot of work. That too, as per his understanding, as per his bringing up, as per his socio-economic circle. And then whatever he has learned, then he can apply it to similar situations. And then the cycle goes on and on and on. So a learner will be a learner, and he's learning from at every bit and every point. Even mistakes are his learning experience.
So it becomes a part of the life
Absolutely.
of the learner,
And
not only
we
confined.
are learners all throughout. In fact, one of a very famous psychologist, Carl Rogers, he said we all have the propensity to learn. We all are learners. So saying that learning will happen only till 12th, till his graduation, no, we are learning it throughout. The day the learning stops, I think we cease to be living only. So learning and living, they are part of the same coin.
Yes, absolutely. Do you think NEP-based tools can help in promoting experiential learning in the classrooms?
A lot. For example, I spoke of critical thinking. For example, when we say that the assessment is not for to learn, but assessment for learning is being used. All these tools which NEP has given out, and it is such a futuristic document, I would say. Here now the challenge is how well will be able to implement it and how early. How early, because we have already, a lot of time has gone by. High time, and this will be a collaborative approach. Collaboration is again an NEP tool. Collaboration first should happen at the end of the teacher. We do not call the teacher anymore. We say it is the
Facilitators.
So they will have to upgrade themselves, and I think that will bring joy back in our life. Why to teach the same things in the same manner to the generation who's not willing to learn your way? So let the child learn his way or her way.
So what opportunities should we impart to students with respect to experiential learning?
Many ways of doing it actually. So there can be field trips can be there where the child is observing, making his own notes, and every child will have a different observation. Then you can have internships. Do not occur at a very young age, but as and when the child can go. There can be role play can be there where the child is actually taking the role of whatever the child. So not promoting actually, but Kidzania happens to be a live example where this experiencing and learning is happening simultaneously. Then we can have simulations. So here the role of the teacher becomes important because she has to control the factors in that simulated environment. The child can learn because every time taking the child out, security is there, and plus a lot of other factors can be the barring factors here. So these many things can happen.
And at the same time, there is a pressure of assessment
assessments are always
In
looked down upon. I don't know why. Because if assessments are not there, how will you know whether learning has
has
happened?
happened or not, exactly.
So I remember when I was doing my B.Ed, so they say that if learning hasn't happened, teaching never did.
Never did.
So learning is important, and there are so many ways, and these are a few to name. A teacher has to be that much creative, has to be an expert on the subject, at the same time understand the psyche of the student, so that the child at the end of the day doesn't feel burdened and he feels joy. Because at the end of the day, what we are vying for is happiness.
Is happiness.
So I think a good teacher, when she imparts a good lesson and she sees that, the children have gained, I think she also has a good night's sleep. I mean, a calming thing, and it gives a different sort of pleasure which cannot be explained. That part should be there, I think, every day with the teacher.
Yes. What should be the right medium of instruction for students? Do you think regional language is much more effective?
Definitely, because NEP also talks about that whatever language the child understands, up to 3 years. Now, of course, the things are changing. So, the medium of instruction is the regional language, and the child family happens to be the first school of the child. So he's learning well whatever value systems which are with him for the rest of his life are actually inculcated by that only. So the medium actually doesn't matter. Um, Experiential learning actually focuses on the learning and not the outcome. Because outcome can differ. Your definition of success and my definition of success might be different, but we all will be successful is what is the optimistic thing that I think every educator should keep in mind.
So, any which ways, English is not the only
Shouldn't be, but if it is preferred, there's no harm also. I am not very partial towards being speaking only in English, and the child should also speak in English. The child is able to express, and nowadays we are not even sticking to the language. We say the child can do it by drawing cartoons.
Yes.
The child can do animations.
Visual expressions.
Visual expressions are there. So there don't no language is required only.
How can technology integrate and encourage students to become future ready for a futuristic tomorrow?
I don't think there is any other option. Because technology is bringing everything to your lap in the laptop. Yes, judicial use is required, definitely. But it opens, I mean, it is your window to the world, I would say. So technology used in the right way, you should know what sites you should visit, because every site is not reliable. Here the teacher can help definitely, where she can tell. At the time of online teaching, when we teachers became students ourselves, because it was, put on all of us that if you have to now to survive, you were underwater, and to gasp that, oxygen, we had to resurface. So we had no other option, and sitting in the vicinity of my room, I think it was technology who made everything available to me. We all learned. Nobody was making Google forms earlier. Nowadays, you have to collect any information, comes the Google form, and it is there. The LMSs that we are talking of, even in the evaluation, technology is really helpful, but the human element has to be there. So it will never happen that the teacher is looked upon. You cannot do without a teacher.
Nobody can replace.
Nobody can replace a teacher.
The teacher and her persona in the class.
Yes.
But technology can any which ways add on.
It can add on. It can enhance. If you are a 50% teacher, I mean, with no offense to anyone, if you are a 50%, easily you can go up to 80%, and the rest, it's up to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was such a wonderful session having this discussion with you.
Same
Thank
here.
you so much for sparing your time and coming to the office. and being with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Team Entab.
Thank you.